And welcome to another edition of Racing to Win. We're at Sha Tin on Wednesday night, something just a little bit different with an 8-race program, and all races are going to be on the all-weather. Joined in the studio to preview it all by Paul Lally and Tom Wood. And Tom, the last race is an absolute cracker.
Yeah, it is, Mark. We've got Nervous Witness going around. Computer Patch, interesting, trying the surface for the first time, of course. Earlier on, before the season kicked off, he went over to Korea and raced over there on the sand and didn't handle that. But it's got Kaying Master, Super Wind Dragon, so all horses that we know handle the dirt well. Nervous Witness, though, drawn barrier 12.
Here's Zach Burton rides for David Hayes. And Paul, you can even spice up a quiet Wednesday night at Sha Tin with some great jackpots.
Yeah, so jackpots going into the triple trio, 2.1 million into that, so that should reach up to the 5 million mark. And also races 2, 4, 6 and 8, we're putting 800,000 in the quartet and first four merge pool. So it's decent jackpots there if you haven't tried that bet, Tom.
Sure it is. It'll keep you going for a Wednesday night. Before we get on with the show, being an 8-race program all on the all-weather, Nick tracked down Sha Tin to ask him what it's like and the best way to ride the all-weather circuit.
So an all-dirt meeting coming up this Wednesday evening from Sha Tin. 8 races taking place on the all-weather, and well, we thought we'd speak to somebody who's got some pretty good form on the surface, and it is, of course, Sha Tin. And Sha, all-weather racing, when it comes to racing on the artificial surface, apart from the obvious, what are the most notable differences?
Well, firstly, Nick, you got to have a horse that can handle the track, and of course, if they have a bit of speed, does play a big part. But it's all about using the momentum. Sometimes even, sometimes you're 3 deep and no cover. Some people might just be worried and try to pull back, but it's not the point. You just have to keep them rolling. And once they get in the momentum and they just sort of go through it with it, that's how I ride it all the time.
How does the pace differ, Karis, from riding on the turf? Obviously, it can be that little bit hit and miss, I suppose, depending on how the dirt is riding.
Yeah. But mostly, you get a horse in a position where they'll show some speed and where they are just moving forward. They can perform pretty well. But like you said, if the dirts are running fast or running slow, so it all depends how the track is running too.
And is perhaps the common misconception that being drawn wide is not necessarily the worst place to be?
Oh yeah, I think some horses you prefer to be drawn wide on a dirt. Especially over 1200 meter, I would prefer to ride a horse on the outside gate over 1200 than an inside gate. I just feel like they just take their own time and don't need to rush them. So I just feel that's a better way for them.
Not surprised that you've got a full book, obviously, given your recent strike. I think you're tipping away at somewhere over 30% in the last sort of 12 or 13 rides. You've got a full book. What of your book of rides on Wednesday evening? The second half looks quite strong.
Yeah, I got a nice book of rides. So there's a few chances there, but like I said, just gonna go out and try my best and give them the best chance.
Shining Fortune, Yes We Can, California Veins, all winners on the surface. But it's your ride in the last that looks quite interesting. Adios, he was second to a horse called Adafil, who you know quite well.
Yeah, of course, like you just mentioned now, and all those horses are chances, and especially the last race, I'm happy to get back on him. I said on him when he was still a bit immature, so I see last time he ran a really good race with the big weight. They went fast, and I just believe the horse that won the race is a nice horse. So I think going into the race with 115 with some hot speed in the race could suit him perfectly.
And Tom, Karis has been having some really strong Wednesday nights of late to a 4-timer a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he's been having a great run since he returned from injury, and it'll be interesting to see how that all-weather track does play on Wednesday night, Paul, because there is some rain predicted. I think it's probably been a little bit tough to prepare it for the meeting with the rain that we've had.
Yeah, it's been unseasonal, hasn't it, with all this rain coming around. I do like the one he was talking about, Adios, in the last there. I think he's going to be right on the pace, isn't he? But Karis does ride the track very well.
He does indeed. So that's some thoughts of Karis with Nick earlier today out at Sha Tin. We move on to the meeting itself. Now it's a later start, 7:15, the first for meeting 57. 8 all-weather races coming up on Wednesday night. The 2 races we focus on, the last 2 over the 1200, the Class 3 and the Class 2. 1200 metres. Race number 7, and we've got the Rock placed 2 from 4 over the 1650 on the all-weather. First time at the 1200 for him. Lightning Bolt wears a tongue tie again. Humble Star makes his all-weather debut. Manstar's a 4-time course and distance winner. Gummy Gummy off a second behind Brave Star comes to the surface for the first time. Youthful Deal top 3 finish in 3 starts over the course and distance. California Veins up in trip. Red Desert, he's a 3-time course and distance winner but hasn't won since April of 2021. And High Rise Soldier struggled both times on this surface. He's eligible for Class 4, might be waiting for a Wednesday night at Happy Valley for him. What about the speed here, Tom? Expected to be good, which is normally the case on plenty of these all-weather races.
It certainly is, Mark. And California Veins, he was up on the pace when he was down the straight last time out, so he should be handy. Gummy Gummy was up on the pace, and his most recent race, and he'd won a trial on the all-weather before his last start as well, so he was better last time out when placed second. High Rise Soldier shouldn't be far away. The trouble is, Paul, for Youthful Deal, barrier 11, even though he does seem to handle the surface, it's a tricky draw out there.
Yeah, he might have to sit 3 wide, I think, Youthful Deal, if he wants to sit on the pace, which he normally does. Manstar's drawn the inside, so I think he'll be next sort of 3 back. Humble Star's been getting back in his runs. Lightning Bolt always needs luck in his runs. He's a horse that does find trouble sometimes, but he generally goes back. But he should get the pace to suit.
All right, so that's the boys and the speed map for race number 7. Youthful Deal, an interesting runner. Zach Purton rides and he's trained by Frankie Law.
Frankie Law, Youthful Deal is a horse who's really found a bit of a home on the all-weather. He's back on the dirt Wednesday night. He's racing on both surfaces, has been really well lately.
Yes, last time a little bit disappointed on the turf, but so anyway, I just put him on the dirt again. He win once on the dirt, so only a little bit problem with the draw 11.
Is that perhaps somewhere that, you know, horses don't mind being out wide on the all-weather? I mean, we've seen a bit of rain recently as well. I'm not sure how the track's going to ride on Wednesday night, but I guess perhaps being wide's not the worst place to be.
Only for the trainers, if the better draw should be better.
Trainer always wants a low draw.
Yes, you know, sometimes you got a wide draw, you need to see inside, and the horse will go for you. If the horse fast enough, it's okay.
You sent the horse up to Chung Fa for a bit of a break. He had a trial there on the turf. What was the thinking with trialling him on turf with an aim to running back on the all-weather? Was it just a case of keeping him nice and fresh sort of thing?
Yes, but you know, sometimes I want to try on the dirt, but sometimes they haven't got the dirt trial, so I put him in the turf.
His form, as we mentioned, has been good on the all-weather. I mean, I want to ask you about a turf run because he was second to a certain Beauty Eternal a couple of starts ago. So that form, in the context of this race, certainly reads very strongly.
Yes, I think so. I hope he can win again on the dirt.
And Frankie, is he the type of horse that's just taken a little bit of time to come to hand? Because early on, obviously, he was obviously not able to deliver at perhaps, you know, short prices, but since you've switched him to the all-weather, he seems to have improved. Do you think he's a better all-weather horse than a turf horse now?
I think both still okay, but you can see he win on the dirt looks better. But I think turf was okay.
Yeah, he's a deep field. They do go well on the surface. Just away from him, just to ask you about Master 8. He's trialled here this morning. He's in the Sprint Cup coming up on the 9th of April. Where's he at? How happy are you with him at this stage?
Yeah, usually he trial on the dirt, really good. If he can lead by himself, sure better. But sometimes in the race, when he get a wide draw, he not faster enough to lead. So maybe he's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be hoping he can bounce back to some of that early form because it was very good, wasn't it?
Yeah. The early, he's really good. He jumped really fast and then he's very easy to lead in front. But now he's getting older. Maybe he's just a little bit slow than before.
And that was Cordyceps 6 running into second in that trial earlier this morning at Sha Tin. Frankie's runners, Tom, he doesn't have a big team in. There's only a total of 5 of them. You're very keen on one of them, though. Yeah,
I am, and that is Havana Aguila, who looked to finish off the race really strongly from back in the field last time out. Cool Blue coming onto the surface for the first time in the 4th race. He's got everyone's victory for Hugh Bowman, drawn wide, but the downgrade looks to definitely suit him. And then, Paul, you're very keen on Adios in the last.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he's going to have a good night. Only the 5 runners, but I think he's got winning chances just about every runner there.
Oh, it sounds good for Frankie Law. What about these horses in this replay, Paul? Manstar, 3rd, Lightning Bolt. You mentioned he needs luck in his races.
Yeah, he does. That's the problem with Lightning Bolt. I mean, he got into the clear here. and he sort of stayed into his position, didn't he? I didn't mind Manstar's run as well. So Lightning Bolt and Manstar, the two I'm going to take out of this. Manstar's drawn in barrier number 1. It's not ideal sometimes in the all-weather because you can get that kickback if you get 2 or 3 back.
He's well rated as Manstar. He last one off 70 and 71, and he's marked 70 here, and he wasn't too far behind Adafil and also Adios there. So give him a chance in this race for sure.
These two, Tom. Now, this is Happy Valley form. Gummy comes to the surface for the first time, but he did trial very well on it prior to this race. And Humble Star, another one onto the surface for the first time in Hong Kong. It's won over the 1200 on the synthetic in Canberra.
Yeah, and he was very wide there on the home turn. He settled a fair way back, but he was making good inroads here. I thought late in the piece, Gummy just wasn't good enough on the night to get past Brave Star, who found plenty, but there was a lot to like about his run there, Paul, because he certainly showed dramatic improvement from what he had shown.
Yeah, and look, he lived up to that trial, and that trial was on the surface all weather, and he's going to be on the pace. I mean, I think California Veins will cross him, but he'd be right behind the pace.
We've seen plenty of these in an earlier replay, Paul, but Sha Tin is one we haven't. He wasn't in that earlier race. He comes back to the all-weather after finishing 5th on the turf last time. 17 starts on this surface, 1 win, but 8 placings.
Yeah, look, he's a consistent horse on a place line, but he's only a one-time winner from his 34 starts. He's had 13 placings, so look, he's hard to have on a win line, Sha Tin, but look, he has got a good turn of foot, and we have seen that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with him here because he's drawn nicely. His last one was off 75. He's down on a rating of 69 now. He was closing off well there, but he's got form behind A-Pal, Packing Treadmill, Super Sunny Sing, How Deep Is Your Love, so the form around him has been pretty good.
All right, good push for Sha Tin from Tom. We head back to Sha Tin turf now. This is California Veins down the straight over the 1,000 last time. He has won course and distance, albeit in a lower grade.
Yeah, he has. Karis Teaton rides here. He was up on the pace in this race down the straight the other day at Sha Tin. He won a race earlier on the season, Paul, and I thought the form was sort of questionable out of that on the all-weather, and he's run some okay races without getting carried away.
Yeah, he's one horse that has won on the all-weather, and he's going to be on the pace. So there's a couple of positives there for him.
One horse that has won multiple times on the all-weather, Paul, is Red Desert, but he hasn't won for a while. He's won up to a rating of 93. He's down to 63 for this. Yeah,
so he's really well rated at the moment. He's drawn 12, though. I just wonder if he's going to be trapped a little bit wide, and he just hasn't been in that same sort of form recently.
Yeah, when he ran 4th in this meeting last year behind Jukwai, I think it was a Class 1 race, and we know what Jukwai's gone on and done since, but he's the best rated horse clearly on the card. I'm going to give him a shout here for a minor spot. I think he's still going well enough at the moment on the rating that he's at to give this race a shake.
All right, that's a breakdown for race 7. Who wins it, Paul?
I'm going to go with Gummy. The horse performed on all sorts of tracks in Australia before he got here. He works well on the surface, and he's really acclimatised well. He's on top. Lightning Bolt will need luck. California Veins from the front, and Manstar from that inside draw. 6, 2, 9 and 4.
Going with 5, and that is Sha Tin here for Ricky Yu and Derek Long from barrier 3. Well rated coming into this. Just a one-time winner, but he's always pretty honest as Sha Tin, number 5, and that one win was on the surface course and distance. Gummy goes in. Manstar, another horse that's on about his right mark at the moment for Jimmy Ting and De Souza, drawn barrier 1, and Red Desert, as we touched on, so well rated. That win was back in April of 2021. 5, 6, 4 and 10.
And we break now on Racing to Win. Seen race 7. We'll come back with race number 8, the last, right after this. Welcome back to Racing to Win. We're making our way through Sha Tin on a Wednesday night. 8 race all-weather program out there, and the last is a good quality Class 2. Over the 1,200 metres, Computer Patch cheek pieces off, blinkers go on for the first time for his all-weather debut. As it is for Nervous Witness, he carries an extra £12 for the class drop. We've got Karying Master, who's coming back to a course and distance that he likes. Stoltz is first up. Astrologer goes from the 1,000 to the 1,200. Superwind Dragon is on the class drop. Tornado Phantom wears pacifiers again. Power Kept wears earplugs again. And Adios ran second to Adafil in Class 3 last time. Comes up into Class 2 with a wider draw. Now, there is an absolute stack of pace in this race, Tom, but the speed map suggesting more good than good to fast.
Yeah, he can come out on top here, Nervous Witness, but I'd be a little bit worried about what they do with Campione, especially apprentice ridden from barrier number 3, because we know Paul, he's become quite one-dimensional now, has Nervous Witness. If he does get some pressure, and that is, I think, highly likely from the stable as well, that could sort of soften him up at the end.
Yeah, it definitely could as well. And if they do go lickety split, I thought Adios may be able to sneak in just in behind them if that's the case there. So he'll get a nice run either way, I think, because he can sit outside. Kaying Master, he's another horse that likes to go forward. He's drawn nicely in barrier 5. So look, it could be slightly stronger than good, as it turns out, good to fast. But whatever happens, is it's going to suit every horse in the race, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really good race. We heard from Frankie Law before the break. We're going to hear from Frankie now with Nick talking Adios.
Frankie Law, interesting horse for you in the final race on Wednesday night is Adios, having only his second run on the all-weather. He went very close to winning on his dirt debut. I'm sure you're hoping he can go one better this time in.
Yes, this time you got a lightweight carrots on. You know, carrots are always good on the dirt. And the pace should be fast. I think suitable for us, yeah.
That run last time, he was beaten by a pretty handy one, and by the name of Adafil, who obviously Karras knows quite well. So he comes in here off a mark of 80. The lightweight, that's certainly going to give him his chance, do you think?
Yes, I think so. Usually, when you go up to the discus and then the other horse is quite strong, so lightweight I think should be help my horse, yes.
He had his first all-weather start at start 11. Was it always in the back of your mind to get him on this surface, or was it just a case of the races presenting themselves for him?
Yes, when I get last time he went good on the dirt, and then I see the program. This is a race I want to race him because we got a lightweight, so lightweight should be better for this horse here.
And do you think that lightweight will offset the rising grade? Obviously, this is a Class 2. It's a pretty handy race. I mean, horses like Nervous Witness and Co. and group race winners in this race.
Yeah.
Do you think with the lightweight that offsets the jumping grade?
I think so. You know, last time he led by himself all the way. For me, he can have some cover should be better. So this race we can load more. Yeah.
And Paul is keen on Adios, but we'll find out why when we get to the selection. So we'll move on because we've got plenty to look at here, Tom, and we start with Nervous Witness. Now, he's been back to the trials. That's Season's Wit, who ran on the weekend in behind him, but he went pretty fast this day and kept on trucking.
Yeah, they ran good time in the trial. It was around about 59.5 for here for this effort. Zach Purton rides from barrier number 12, so he should be able to get across, Paul, but it's a matter of fact of what they do with Campione, whether that sort of can soften him up sort of mid-run. And he was beaten last time out into a third behind Duke Wine. He's got a lot more weight to carry here too.
He does, doesn't he? Barrier 12 with Campione on barrier 3. That's the worry I've got for Nervous Witness. I'm going to include him, but just on a very minor line.
Okay, our next replay is all-weather racing, and it does feature Kaying Master. That is him there. He's had a start since on the turf over 1400 and was deemed to be Aurora. Super Wind Dragon, he'll appreciate coming back down into this grade. And Astrologer, who missed the start, so it's hard to get a guide on what he did this day. He's had a trial too, Paul, Kaying Master, since this race. Coming out of that trial have been Mighty Stride and Easton, and he beat them both home.
He did. Look, the roaring is a problem for me, being declared that roar. Look, he's run second off 94, but his actual last win was off 83, and he's up to this rating in 95, and that worries me a bit in this field.
Yeah, I think he's going to struggle here a little bit. He was making minor inroads at the end of this race behind Pinghai Galaxy. The trial looked good, but there's a few things that do worry me a little bit with him. He's dropped 20 pounds as well.
Okay, so maybe a watch on Kaying Master. Now, tell me, we've got Harmony and Rich. This is him running second. He was well backed this night. Toronado Phantom is in behind. He's the grey. Power Kep. He's just up ahead of Toronado Phantom at this stage, and Astrologer doesn't make too much inroads. Now, Harmony and Rich has had 3 goes on the all-weather for a 9th, a 10th and a 12th. But his last 2 trials on the surface have been good.
Yeah, they have been. There was one just the other day that was so good that he won, and he went really well in a trial prior to that. The one I want to take out of here, though, is Toronado Phantom. He was back towards the inside of the track. He didn't have the clearest of runs, had to sort of run off the back of them there, but he's been pretty good his last couple, Paul. Yeah,
and look, he'd run 4th at 85. He's down to this rating of 83, 84, I should say, and he's going well at the moment. So, yeah, I'm with you, Tom. I've included him.
All right, and finally, some winning form, Paul, with Goko Win. That is him in behind. He's been back to the trials too. Led up in a trial and finished 3rd behind a winner on the weekend in Lost Child.
Yeah, look, and he comes in with a lightweight, doesn't he? He's got to come up into Class 2 and do it, and comes to a new surface. Denicept horses don't generally win 2 in a row. I just wonder, it was such a good performance here winning this race. Can he put two together? That's the query I had.
He'd won on a synthetic surface over in Australia a couple of times prior to arriving. Supreme Lucky's come out of this race. Wonder Kit's been running well, so I want to keep him safe here because I think he's trialled well on the track.
All right, quick selections and a quick comment on Computer Patch too.
Yeah, look, Adios I've got on top here, and the reason I've got Adios is he's comes in with a really light weight. He's going really well at the moment. Tornado Phantom, Super Wind Dragon will get the race run to suit. Nervous Witness from the front. Computer Patch, I just worry about the big weight on the surface for the first time.
Yeah, I'll go with the Tornado with Phantom here, number 9. Wagner Borges and John Size, of course, some distance winner. Adios goes in, Harmony and Rich and Goko win goes in as well. So 9, 12, 8 and 11, deal me out of Computer Patch.
He did win a trial and led all of the way in that trial. So basically it's a no on Computer Patch. What about a few of the other winners on Wednesday night, Paul?
Look, I thought Akapow could go well here. He's gone well on the surface as a winner this season. Sweet Diamond, look, he's got blinkers on for the first time. He's a winner from his 8 starts. First time on the surface by Zoostar. El Valiente looks well placed in the third over 1,800 metres. The downgrader, Everyone's Victory. Killer Instinct for Casper Founds. Another one that's gone well on the surface. Heaven Aguila is really going well at the moment, and we've seen him perform on the surface as well.
And you can find all of those races on the website hkjc.com. Click on audio and video. Before we say adios, what's your best bet?
Going to go with Gummy Gummy, actually. I looked at Adios as a best, but I ended up with Gummy Gummy. Just going to be in the right position, coming to the surface here. I think he's going to be really well placed. So race 7, number 6, Gummy Gummy. And Sweet Diamond, blinkers on for the first time, has won a trial on the all-weather with those blinkers. He's out of form. We hopefully will get a really big price with him, but I think he can run well. And race 8, the QQP there with Super Wind Dragon, Tornado Phantom, and Adios.
Best for me is Heaven Aguila in the 6th race. Horse number 4, Frankie Laurent de Souza, ran home really strongly, I thought, last time out. He's off a rating of 69, did place on a artificial surface overseas prior to arriving. Tornado Phantom goes in as well as the Valley Runner race 8, number 9, John Size, Wagner Borges from Barry at number 11. And the play with the 6th race, Romantic Combo, Royal Bomb, I think is going well at the moment, and Heaven Aguila.
Shining Fortune has drawn a barrier. Karis Teaton on board for John Size. 1 win from 18. That win was course and distance. Rating 53. It's all about the draw. He's going to get a perfect trip. Humble Star off that run at Happy Valley last time, and knowing that he raced well on a similar surface in Canberra over the course and distance means he should be able to cope with it straight away. And we'll go the forecast. Shining Fortune and California Concord in race 4. Numbers 5 and 1 for the play of the day. But that has been racing to win for Wednesday night at Sha Tin. Busy week for Sha Tin, Tom, because we're back there on the weekend.
We are. The boys and girls have been preparing the track at sort of that change of the seasons where they do that, and we've got a Class 2 1600, Paul, as the feature at the weekend.
Yeah, Amazing Victory was costly over 14 last time. He has to step up to the 16, and he was beaten 2.5 favourite. See if he can atone on the weekend.
We will talk more about that later in the week, but we'll see you at Sha Tin on Wednesday night for a 7:15 start.